My name is Rick Rebusel. I'm the principal consultant of Business Transition Consulting. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the basic structure of what Business Transition Consulting does. And that basic component is plan. If a business does planning, then it is more likely to be successful. I've seen that over and over again through the years of consulting that I've done. And what I want to share with you today is that if owners of a private business can plan together, then they can meet the problems and obstacles that are thrown at them in the business activity that they choose, and they can succeed. However, if they do not plan, the likelihood that they will disagree and have issues and have those disagreements and problems affect the success of the business is much greater. When we ask a business to plan, the basic thing that we're asking people to do is to sit down initially and talk about their values. What exactly do they want to do with the business? Now, when I say values, I'm not talking about saying you want to be honest or saying that you want to be truthful, saying that you're going to be loyal. What I'm talking about are specific references to what the business means to that owner. Is the business something that the owner wants to do for a lifetime? Is the business a lifestyle business for that owner? Is the business a way to make money as quickly as possible? All these things are likely values for an owner, and frequently owners do not share these values. They do not sit down and have those conversations. Well, as warm and fuzzy as that may seem, it actually has a hard edge, because having those conversations, making those commitments back and forth, understanding what each owner wants is what keeps those owners aligned and what makes the planning activity possible. Now, owners don't have to absolutely agree about what they want to do with the business. There's nothing to say that one owner can't get out after a certain number of years and another owner might want to stay on and bring family members into the business. The critical component is, do all the owners know what is intended on the part of each owner? There is nothing more corrosive to a business ownership relationship than keeping secrets or attempting to manipulate based on knowledge that one person may have and another person does not. If values are shared, if owners keep having the values conversation, their planning will be much more successful. And if after that conversation about values, owners try to make the best quality decisions they can make, that further enhances the value of the planning. How do you make a good decision? Well, the formula is pretty well known. You do research, you accumulate knowledge, you analyze that, you talk to the people who are going to be affected, you talk to experts who have done it before, you involve a number of people. You don't look in a mirror and make a decision. And then you come up with the best possible decision that you can make within the time frame that you have to make it. This is group decision making. And it's the best type of decision making. It's the decision making that can make the difference between the success and failure of a business. If we have a business owner look in the mirror every morning and decide what to do, the rest of the people in the business are going to be very confused. They are not going to be motivated, and their morale is going to be bad. But if in fact they feel they're part of the planning, they're part of attaining a goal, they will respect that and they will become a part of a team that's trying to get something done. They need to know what that something is. And that's part of the planning process. Very basically, if you do not talk to people who are affected by the execution and results of a plan, then you're probably going to make a bad decision. The people in the business that are producing, that are doing the work, are often the most valuable knowledge components that one can seek out and find. And I'm always amazed at how infrequently business owners use that resource. When a decision is made and a process is used, it is likely that that process will be repeated. And that's good. What you want to establish in a business is a decision-making process with the right people in the right place making the right decisions. Well, we have different decisions that have to be made. We have strategic decisions or long-term decisions. We've got short-term or operational decisions, and those have to operate together. What we see frequently with businesses is that we see strategic planning done once every 1 year, 2 years, 3 years at some sort of an annual retreat. And then that planning, however it's documented, is stuck in a 3-ring notebook and put on a shelf. And business goes on as usual operationally. That is not an effective implementation of planning. If goals are set, everyone needs to know what those goals are, from the owners, executive management, down to production workers who are actually going to do the actions that will make the goals possible. If the goals are not stated so that everyone in the company knows what the goals are, then they will not be effective. From the standpoint of implementing actions to accomplish the goals, executive management must also engage in a decision-making procedure. And that procedure is the same process that the owners go through to set the goals. But it's different people in a different place doing the same type of process. So the planning problem is, how do we integrate the strategic with the operational? How do we get the right people to do the right things at the right time? And the essence to answering that is to look at the plan format. An effective plan format integrates strategic with operational, so that when a goal is set, the executive management knows to implement actions to accomplish that goal. And they know one other thing: they need to monitor the progress. And then that monitoring information needs to go back to the goal setters, the policymakers, the owners of the business. This format cannot be a written document in a 3-ring notebook. This format cannot be a clipboard down at the foreman's desk. It has to be a document of a dynamic nature. Now, I suppose it could be a software program and be really effective. I can conceptualize that. I can see everybody having an iPad or a screen and things coming up. But the reality of it is that technology can get in the way here. We're not quite there yet. And the way that I've seen this plan format work the best is with spreadsheets, just simple spreadsheets. The goal is stated, what needs to be done is stated, the monitoring is stated, and results are placed directly onto the spreadsheet, and everyone sees what's going on. Different businesses will want different formats, different setups. There will be ways to do this effectively, but the critical element is the communication between the policymakers and the people who are executing the actions that need to be done to attain a goal. If the plan format is effective, it will do one other thing. The plan format is also a scheduling device to get the right people deciding the right things at the right time. Now, the right people means people with the correct authority. What you do not want to have happen is that the people who are charged with acting to attain a goal decide that that goal is unattainable, but not give any information to the policymakers who set the goal. What we essentially have in that situation is we have someone who doesn't have authority to change a goal, practically speaking, changing the goal. Now, if the information is given to the policymaker that the goal is unattainable, let's call it unreasonable, the policymaker should revise the goal. And in this way, there will be a communication back and forth and an understanding of how the team can work to do what is possible, what is practical, what should be done. If that is not in place, and the communication does not occur, we will not have an effective plan. Now let's say we have an effective plan in place. All these things that I've talked about have been done. What does that do for us? The first thing it does, the most important thing that it does, is that it aligns ownership. Generally speaking, owners are the policymakers, and if the policymakers get along, then the policy is set. Now, I'm not saying the policymakers have to agree on everything. I'm not saying that their values have to be the same, but I am saying they have to talk about all that. And they do have to come up with goals that they can agree on. In other words, there has to be a consensus about goals. And once those goals are set, the owners are aligned. They understand and have set out what they want to do. That is a very big benefit from implementing planning in a business. The second thing is that once the owners have a decision-making procedure, once they know there's a process that they can go about to get things decided, to align themselves, they can forge owner agreements. And the most important owner agreement is a buy-sell agreement. The buy-sell agreement acts to ensure the value of each owner's interest to that owner. And if a buy-sell agreement is not in place, foreseeable things like death of an owner, disability of an owner, withdrawal of an owner, all those things that will happen end up causing chaos and possible failure of the business. It doesn't have to be that way, especially in a business where the owners have shown that they can plan. Because the plan, the strategic plan about how the business succeeds, how the business goes forward, is the base for the owner agreement that includes buy-sell provisions. When the owners go to a lawyer to have that document drafted, the owner has to answer a number of questions that the lawyer has to ask to draft the document. If there hasn't been planning done, those questions can't be answered. If one owner answers for all the other owners, you can bet there's going to be dissension and disagreement down the road. It has to be a process where the owners are aligned, planning has been done, and then the agreement can document the consensus of the owners about very important things in planning and in buy, sell. Another tremendous advantage of having planning in place for a business is that it enables the business to reach its maximum value. Businesses that can function, businesses that are going forward, can grow, can make improvements, can do the best that they can do because there is communication, there is good morale, there is teamwork. And why has all that happened? It's happened because of planning. When that planning is in place, the business can truly thrive and realize maximum value. And one of the ways to review the progress of the business is to simply have the owners step back and say, each one thinking, would I buy this business? If an owner says, I wouldn't buy this business, then we want to know why. Because what is it about the business that would put off that owner? Being a sophisticated business owner, that's a tremendous problem. Can we solve that problem? If we manage the business to sell it, we'll be implementing the very best management that we can. Managing a business to sell it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sell the business, but what it does mean is that you're looking at that business the way a buyer would look at it, and you're being much more careful about what you're judging. What gets an owner maximum value from a business is having a third-party buyer buy that business for maximum value. If an owner is involved in the business and is a critical element of the business, that lowers the value. So what we're looking for is a business that has management free of ownership, that functions very, very well according to a planning and decision-making policy that's in place and constantly done. This will be as close to a revenue-making machine as it can be. And that is where owners will get maximum value for that business in a business sale. I appreciate you watching this video.